The 2026 NBA free agency frenzy started over a month ago. We watched LeBron go to Philly, Walker Kessler land in LA, and Norman Powell head to Chicago. But a long list of valuable NBA talent is still sitting out there completely unsigned. Today we are looking at those forgotten players, ranking the top 15 free agents still left on the market. Let's kick things off at number 15 with Bradley Beal. He is far from perfect in 2026, mostly because constant injuries have absolutely derailed his career. He was always hurt in Phoenix, and only managed to play 6 games for the Clippers this season. Honestly, he looked terrible in those 6 games. Now at 33, his elite athletic days are clearly behind him. Still, we all know what he can do with the ball in his hands. This guy used to average 30 points a night. If he can somehow stay healthy, there's a slight chance he could provide some solid scoring spark off the bench. Sliding in at number 14 is Kevin Love. At 37 years old, his best playing seasons are way behind him. You really do not want him on the floor for more than 10 to 15 minutes a night. Even so, he still brings those classic veteran traits. He remains a highly reliable rebounder at the power forward spot. He can still knock down open three-pointers, and his passing remains decent enough to keep defenses honest. He keeps the ball moving and usually makes the right read to find open teammates. After a decent run in Utah, he can absolutely help a playoff contender looking for an experienced bench leader to play limited minutes. Franchises like the Miami Heat, Los Angeles Lakers, Minnesota Timberwolves, or San Antonio Spurs could all make a lot of sense. Every one of them needs front court depth. Now at number 13, let's look at Ochai Agbaji. I actually thought he put together a decent second half of the year playing with Brooklyn. He hasn't really excelled on either end of the floor yet, but I still believe in his defensive upside. The guy can guard multiple positions, and you can see his path to becoming a reliable 3-and-D wing. He just needs more night-to-night consistency. At 26, he's just entering his physical prime. In the right system and role, his best days are ahead. Next, at number 12, is the highly intriguing Trendon Watford. He plays the power forward position in such an unorthodox way, which acts as a gift, but also a curse. Offensively, he serves as a point forward, and he is a highly underrated playmaker. He makes great plays in transition and handles the ball well for his size. But as nice as that is, the absolute basics you expect from a front court piece, like reliable help side defense, perimeter shooting, and strong rebounding, just aren't in his bag. That makes finding a clean team fit incredibly difficult, but he's only 25, so a development staff definitely has something to work with. At number 11, we have Jeremy Sochan. He is another highly unusual power forward. Still just 23, the former 9th overall pick in 2022 put up some solid moments with San Antonio. He wasn't flawless, which is exactly why the Spurs let him go in the middle of the season, but he still flashed real defensive upside, acting as a ball handler and scoring well in transition. The biggest reason he is still sitting in free agency has to be his broken jump shot. You simply cannot be a complete zero on the perimeter as a modern 4 unless you possess generational defensive traits like Draymond Green. Fortunately, he has time to turn things around. He played well enough during his brief stint with the Knicks to easily deserve a roster spot somewhere. Coming in at number 10, we have Nick Richards. He is the definition of a solid rotation big. He will not blow you away with any specific skill, but he is dependable enough to earn bench minutes, and it is pretty surprising he is still available. Standing 7 feet tall, he crashes the glass hard and acts as a dangerous vertical lob threat. You cannot ask him to create offense or serve as an elite primary rim protector, but he sets heavy screens, rolls hard to the rim, and alters plenty of shots in the paint. Teams are always hunting for front court depth. Center is such a critical position, and I actually think he is a fantastic backup option. Teams needing help at the 5, like the Golden State Warriors, Toronto Raptors, or Denver Nuggets, make perfect sense. At number 9, we have Brandon Williams. He put together a very impressive run with the Dallas Mavericks this past year. He dropped 13 points and 4 assists a night while shooting 47% from the field. Sure, he was flat out awful from deep, hitting just 23%. But he showed more than enough everywhere else to prove he belongs in the league, and he's got a quick first step. He plays at his own pace, gets straight to the rack, and can create his own shot from almost anywhere. I really like how he operates at the point guard position, but here's the catch. He's just not a threat from three-point range. Standing at just 6'1", he's a bit undersized, which obviously makes him a target defensively on the floor. If his shot's off and the offense stalls, it's tough to justify keeping him out there for more than 15 minutes a night. Still, he's only 26 years old and the talent is clearly there. At the very least, there is more than enough upside for him to be a solid backup playmaker. At number 8, Bruce Brown. He's easily one of the safest bets remaining in free agency. If your squad needs a bench guard who can finish at the rim and hit the three respectably, and bring real effort defensively, you know exactly what you're getting the second he steps on the court. He defends both guard spots and crashes the glass incredibly well for his size. You're getting pure hustle on every single possession, and he's always looking to make those winning plays on both ends. Even though he's bounced around the league quite a bit lately, he can absolutely help a contending team, and it's honestly pretty shocking that nobody's snatched him up yet. That's not to say he doesn't have weaknesses, and his fit definitely depends on the roster around him. He's just not going to give you much pure scoring. He can run the offense at point guard in a pinch, but he's never been particularly great at it. And it seems like he's lost some of that explosive burst that made him so deadly driving the lane during Denver's championship run. So, if you're still looking to add an experienced guard in free agency who understands his job and plays it well, Bruce Brown is probably close to the best option you'll find. At number 7, Russell Westbrook. Speaking of veteran guards, Russell Westbrook is 37 and still waiting for the phone to ring. Now, whether that perfect situation actually exists is still anyone's guess, but his recent run in Sacramento proved that he's still, at the bare minimum, a legitimate NBA rotation piece. He averaged 15 points, 5 boards, and 7 assists, while shooting surprisingly well from deep by his standards. Simply put, there aren't many guys in the league who can still produce like this at his age. No matter what, you know you're getting absolute maximum effort. He'll bring high energy, share the rock, and do everything he can to set up his teammates. And he can still completely change the pace when he's going downhill in transition. Now, the flaws are still impossible to ignore. He's never been an efficient shooter from deep, and he's never going to be a reliable threat out there. He's still highly prone to turnovers, and his finishing around the rim is not what it used to be. But if you're only asking him to play 15 minutes a night and serve as a high-energy spark plug off the bench, he's definitely still got good basketball left to give. At number 6, DeMar DeRozan. Yet another veteran playmaker parting ways with the Sacramento Kings this offseason. He was recently waived, making him an unrestricted free agent. And we're already hearing rumors about interest from the Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat, and Detroit Pistons. So, expect him to land with a roster that actually has a real shot at making some noise in the postseason. He's 37, entering the final chapter of his career. Because of that, he should be open to a cheaper deal, maybe even a veteran minimum, just to play some meaningful basketball. Last season, he put up 18 points on 50% shooting, alongside 4 assists per night. So it's clear he still has that deep scoring bag. He's always been incredible at creating his own shot, cementing himself as one of the greatest mid-range scorers ever. His footwork is elite, and he stays highly efficient despite taking incredibly tough shots. He's also played in 70-plus games for 5 straight seasons. Despite his age, he's still a guy you can absolutely count on to be out on the floor consistently. He's actually developed into a better playmaker and passer as he's aged and accepted a lighter scoring load. A true contending team probably doesn't want the ball in his hands 24/7 in 2026, but his lethal shot creation and tough shot making still hold immense value in today's NBA. At number 5, let's talk about Benedict Mathurin. Honestly, it's not all that shocking to see his free agency drag out for this long. As a restricted free agent, the Clippers can match any offer sheet he signs. And since he's not the most consistent player on the court, coupled with the fact that almost no teams have cap space left to spend, look, the Clippers hold all the leverage here. I wouldn't expect him to sign some massive multi-year deal. He just doesn't have that kind of leverage yet. But honestly, that's not to say he never will. Still, you've got to love his offensive toolkit. As a Clippers fan, I thought he was great in the play-in tournament. He gave us enough flashbulb moments to warrant bringing him back for another season just to see if he can actually reach his ceiling. He's a gifted athlete. Got the raw speed, got the bounce. That quick burst lets him attack the rim with total confidence, but again, consistency is the one thing holding him back. On any given night, he can explode offensively, hitting impossibly tough shots from literally anywhere on the floor. But when his jumper isn't falling, things get pretty ugly, and he doesn't offer your team much else outside of scoring. Whether he returns on a qualifying offer or gets signed and traded to the Chicago Bulls, the Pelicans, or the Mavericks, I have no clue. But I honestly believe there is still a whole other level his game can reach. At number 4, Jonathan Kuminga. At just 23 years old, he has almost every physical tool you could ever want in an NBA forward. He is explosive, aggressive on the drive, strong, can switch across multiple defensive positions, and is just an elite overall athlete. Honestly, the physical profile has never been the issue with Jonathan Kuminga. It's mostly been about him putting the pieces together and delivering a consistent performance night in and night out. His jumper looks clean, but the results are still pretty erratic. He has a habit of completely fading out of the offense at times, and you have to wonder if he can start for a playoff contender when he's this prone to turnovers. He doesn't rebound well, his basketball IQ can be shaky, and he offers almost nothing when he's playing off the ball. But when you look at his massive ceiling and what he's already flashed in postseason runs with both the Warriors and the Hawks, it's hard to completely count him out. Now, I'm not predicting he'll become a superstar or even a regular star, but if he can polish those basic fundamentals and string together some real game-to-game consistency, he's got a bright future as a high-level rotation player. At number 3, Peyton Watson. This kid has probably been the most debated free agent lately besides LeBron James, mostly due to his situation with the Denver Nuggets. Denver is a super expensive squad, and they don't have the draft picks to dump their bad contracts. With Christian Braun locked into a $100 million deal, Denver has to either orchestrate a sign and trade or swallow a heavy contract they'd probably prefer to avoid. And he is not a guy you want to let walk out the door. At just 24 years old, he's already a high-level defender with some seriously intriguing upside on the other end. He switches smoothly across positions and holds his ground against almost anyone. As a wing, his shot blocking is elite, and he injects pure energy on both ends of the floor every single night. His offense definitely needs refinement, but in his 40 starts this season, he showed flashes that should get fans incredibly excited. He put up 17 points and 5 boards on highly efficient shooting splits, proving he has every physical tool you'd ever want at that forward spot. He disrupts passing lanes, plays excellent team help defense, and can put the ball in the hoop from anywhere on the court. If he continues to get touches and run the offense and grows comfortable in a primary scoring role, his star potential is massive. At number 2, James Harden. Honestly, I don't get why James Harden is still on the market. Everyone, myself included, expects him to re-sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers, mainly because nobody else is going to offer him big money at this point in his career, especially since the Cavs just traded Darius Garland to bring him in. I don't know if he's holding out for a bigger bag or if Cleveland is just busy balancing other roster moves first. I honestly don't know. But let's be real, they have no option but to bring him back. Even at 37 years old, James Harden remains one of the premier playmakers in the NBA. He's an elite facilitator with a legendary handle. He is masterclass at feeding his teammates, especially his big men in the front court. And while his scoring has dipped, he's still a major threat. The guy dropped a 55-point masterpiece last year, and he'll easily give you 20 points a night this season. He scores in every single way imaginable, and he instantly elevates any offense, at least during the 82-game grind of the regular season. At this point, there is a 99.9% chance he returns to Cleveland very soon. And finally, at number 1, let's talk about Jalen Duren. He is easily the absolute best remaining free agent on the market, a young star we thought was on track for a massive Supermax extension. Given how absolutely dominant he was during this past regular season, he locked down an all-star selection, made the All-NBA third team, played second fiddle on the absolute best squad in the Eastern Conference, and expanded his game in some massive ways. We are talking a career-high 19.5 points per game, along with 10.5 rebounds and a block. Putting up those numbers at just 22 years old, without even hitting 30 minutes a night, is honestly unreal. He's already an elite center, and he hasn't even reached his prime. So why on earth is he still a free agent? Why haven't the Pistons handed him the massive bag he wants? Why has no other team offered him that money? Well, there are 3 reasons. First off, he was utterly atrocious in the postseason. He got run off the court and looked like he didn't even want to be there. Second, his success depends heavily on playing next to an elite playmaker like Cade Cunningham to feed him the ball. And third, he's just not the defensive anchor you'd expect him to be. Sure, he has size and quick feet, but opponents simply don't fear him down low. He simply doesn't dictate terms defensively. That means he is probably not a second option on a championship caliber roster. So if you're Detroit's front office, why commit over $55 million annually when there isn't another franchise in the league willing to match that price tag? No one knows how this ends, but it's easily the most fascinating standoff of the summer. But either way, we will have to wait and see how this high-stakes game of contract chicken finally plays out. I will keep a close eye on this saga. See you in the next one.